Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now today, you may notice an audio difference. That's because I'm actually finally recording on a Yeti mic. That's metal, not plastic. I'll tell you that much. Now, I've been re-recording this intro because, I've been having problems with, how it peaks and stuff. I think I got it to the right one. I've been doing like the P test where I would say P and, it peaks, but it doesn't peak as much as I need it to. It doesn't peak as bad as it normally does. This kind of peaking is better because it's still level enough for me to understand what I'm saying. Like, it's still loud enough for you to hear what is going on, but, quiet enough so that it doesn't peak. But anyways, and of course, this is the big end of year episode and I mean literally big end of year because this is literally going to be on December 31st, the last day of the year. Also, I'm sick. You can probably hear it in my voice. And, that doesn't bode well for me and my throat when I finish recording, because every time I finish recording, my throat goes like, ugh. But, you live and you learn. But anyways, let's get right into the news. Brown seeks Obama meeting as he considers presidential run. Senator Sherrod Brown hasn't decided whether or not he's running for president, but he's checking off a lot of the boxes that come along the way. Now, Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown is kind of, I posted a meme a while ago on Twitter, and that meme I posted, it kind of summed up pretty much a lot of the big 2020 contenders. Now, that is, of course, a problem, because some of these guys don't want to be compared to other candidates. But, since it's a Democratic primary, you're going to have to compare them. I pretty much put them in 3 levels. Progressive / corporate, kind of, and completely corporate. Examples of each in the progressive category, we have Tulsi Gabbard and Richard Ojeda and Bernie Sanders. In the corporate / progressive one, where it's kind of a mix of the two, we have Beto O'Rourke and Andrew Gillum and people like that. And in the corporate category, we have the Hillary Clintons, the Michael Bloombergs, the Andrew Cuomos, and the Cory Bookers and Kamala Harris. But for Sherrod Brown, I kind of place him in that middle category. There's some things he says is alright. He's been rallying against he's been a super fair trade over free trade guy. But, he has yet to endorse the Medicare for All bill. He'll say something like, oh, I'm for a public option. But he's not going to say oh, I'm for Medicare for All. And, that doesn't necessarily bode well in a Democratic primary, where even super centrist guy like John Delaney literally has to pretend oh, I was always for Medicare for All, despite the fact that he didn't endorse it in the House at any point in the levels. But, the Democratic primary, there's going to be a lot of people there, and a lot of dominoes are going to fall. I think I have it laid down who might end up. I always feel like it's going to be one progressive, it's going to be Bernie, another progressive / populist. No, wait, hold on. It's going to be Bernie Sanders, another progressive, Richard Ojeda, a corporate / progressive wannabe, and one corporate Democrat. One of those. It's going to be example, Sanders, Ojeda, Gabbard, O'Rourke, and Bloomberg. No, wait, not Bloomberg, Harris or something like that. One of those, those are the ones that are going to end up being the final guys. Probably. If I get all of those right, I'm gonna tout that. But anyways, next story, because I really do not care too much about that until actual big people start announcing, which they're gonna do before, like, it's gonna be happening, like, between January and June is when the big Democrats are actually gonna start announcing presidential runs, because the fact that the June 2019 is gonna be the first Democratic primary, which I'm gonna, talk about. And especially considering the first Democratic primary, apparently the rules are not going to be based on any poll numbers. That could be good or bad. Because, it could be, maybe they'll be like, oh, Bernie, you're not allowed because, but I have the poll numbers. Well, yeah, I know you have the poll numbers, but no. But anyways, next story. Michelle Obama ends Hillary Clinton's run for most admired. Michelle Obama, most admired woman for the first time. Barack Obama, most admired man for the 11th year in a row. Queen Elizabeth finishes amongst 10th. Pretty much, here's what happened. Every year they have like a top 10, like, most admired man or top most admired woman, and they'll be like, pick who's the most admired person of the year. And here are the final results for women. For most admired women, we have Nancy Pelosi with 1 vote. Malala Yousafzai, she was that little girl that got shot in the face in, like, the Middle Eastern countries. Nikki Haley with 1 vote. Like, all 3 of those got 1 vote. Ellen DeGeneres, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Angela Merkel, and Queen Elizabeth with 2 votes each. Melania Trump and Hillary Clinton with 4 votes each. Oprah Winfrey with 5 votes. And Michelle Obama with 15 votes. Those are percentage-wise, but you know what I mean. For most admired man, we have Mike Pence, Elon Musk, Joe Biden, the Dalai Lama, Bill Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and Bill Gates all getting 1%. Pope Francis and George W. Bush get 2%. Donald Trump get 13%. And Obama got 19%. Now, these results kind of just reek of establishment. Like, think about it. Who are the people on this list? Obama, Trump, Bush, Sanders, Clinton, Biden, Pence. Those are like all exclusive. Granted, yeah, but like, literally, it's like, why is Obama again? People don't love him that much. I guarantee the people of Flint, Michigan don't like him that much. You'll know how I know that in a little bit. But, this is just an establishment circle jerk. For lack of a better term. The establishment's just looking around being like, oh, who are we gonna pick for like, they're picking whoever they want to pick to be like, it's like, which one of us is the best this year? Obama. And of course, Donald Trump didn't get it, because why would Donald Trump get it? And of course, Bernie Sanders didn't get it, because why would the establishment want Bernie Sanders to win anything? It's just kind of disappointing. And speaking of Bernie Sanders, Dems worry. Top 3 candidates in polls are all white men. Democrats are worried that they have a problem. 3 people leading the polls at the very early stages of the presidential race are all white men. The party traditionally battles over identity politics and wanting to be seen as promoting diversity. Its last 3 nominees have been Barack Obama, who became the nation's first African-American president, and Hillary Clinton, the first woman to win the popular vote. Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Representative Beto O'Rourke are this year's top-tier candidates, according to a recent, very early Des Moines Register CNN/Medicon poll. The poll showed that 32% of people polled in Iowa voted for Biden, 19% preferred Sanders, and 11% preferred Beto O'Rourke. While some Democrats believe that early polls are mostly a metric on name recognition, they say it defines the party's mission to be more diverse and more inclusive, and the top 3 candidates are all white men. Who the fuck cares? No, legitimately, Who the fuck cares? If the candidate is a white man, who cares? If the candidate's a lesbian black lady, who cares? Who cares? Who literally, who cares? I don't give a fucking shit who you are. As long as you promote the right platform, I'll support you till the cows come home. I.e., Rosie O'Donnell. But Donald Trump thinks my joke is hilarious. Ha 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 ha. Rosie O'Donnell, fat ugly pig. Man, Rosie O'Donnell jokes died a long time ago. And so should Rosie O'Donnell. No, that was just terrible. I remember back in the South Park days when they made Rosie O'Donnell jokes like, "Go on, kids, I'll hold you off." No, that's my aunt, Rosie O'Donnell. Oh. Well, nice to meet you, Aunt Rosie. But anyways, again, who legitimately cares? Bernie Sanders may be a straight white old male, but he's a straight white old male that literally tons of people love and support. He has gotten a lot of support among minorities, women, people of his age range don't like him. The young people love him. Like, literally, look at all the people who like Bernie Sanders. Can you name one of them who has reached, like, their, 30th pube? No. No one. No. Nobody freaking cares about what your race is. Especially considering, the Democratic Party is already smearing Bernie Sanders based on a lot of this stupid stuff, like, oh, he's a white male. No. Who cares? I don't give a shit if he's a straight white male, a gay, black transgender person. I don't care if you're genderqueer or anything. I don't give a shit. As long as you're promoting the right platform. It baffles me why people legitimately care so. There's some people who literally said, like Sean King, yeah, that black journalist that is usually super progressive. He's like, if Bernie Sanders does not pick a black person to be the head of his campaign staff, I'm supporting somebody else because when the diversity, if you're willing to shoot your own philosophy in the foot just because they don't put a black person on the head of the ticket, man, no wonder people don't like progressives that much. If we're so, volatile that we can't even support candidates that we are supposed to support, that's why Dennis Kucinich had to say, I will nominate any gay to the Supreme Court. Because if he didn't, progressives wouldn't like him. Legitimately, why? Why does anybody care? Nobody does. Except for the mainstream media, who's going to make this a big issue. In fact, while I'm on the topic of the mainstream media and Bernie Sanders, they're already, for some reason, playing this whole stupid card game where it's like, well, not a card game explicitly, but this stupid game where it's like, oh, why is Bernie Bros waging a war on Beto O'Rourke? Are they afraid of change? No, they're not afraid of change. They're afraid of the status quo. And Beto would give us the status quo. Now you might say, but didn't you support Beto O'Rourke? Well, I reluctantly did. I was legitimately, I wasn't for Beto O'Rourke for a long time. And it wasn't until Kyle Kulinski, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Lawrence Lessig, and all those big progressive names started screaming Beto O'Rourke, Beto O'Rourke, Beto O'Rourke, Beto O'Rourke. Then I was if all these guys support him, he can't be that bad. Turns out, yeah, I was right, they were wrong. I'm gonna keep him on my website on the endorsements that lost page because I don't want people to forget that I endorsed him. And I will also not forget that I did endorse. Not all of my endorsements made it through. Darcy Richardson, he kind of pulled a little bit of a oh, I'm a centrist. Da, 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 da. I mean, it's fine if he is. I mean, he's also this big third party supporter, so I probably would have been like, at least like, hey, maybe you should pay attention to the Darcy Richardson campaign. But there's also like, like Max Rose. I endorsed him for like a freaking minute, and then I found out, oh no, you're endorsed by the Blue Dogs. No, thank you. But I mean, it's just kind of perplexing. Why are people, especially considering shouldn't we be having these conversations now? It's the freaking primary process. Shouldn't we be talking about which ones of the candidates could be the best? Like, why do people think that just because we don't like a person, that means we're waging a war on them? Look, if push comes to shove, let's just be real. If push comes to shove, would I support a Beto O'Rourke candidacy? No. I didn't vote for the Green Party. I mean, I've even got like the 10 candidates, like the top 10 candidates that could beat Donald Trump in the primary. Not the primary, the general election. The top 10 candidates that could beat Donald Trump. 1, Bernie Sanders. 2, Bernie Sanders. 3, Bernie Sanders. 4, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders. Then there's also, if you want to make it to top 15, you'll probably have like, the other little small progressives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Bernie or bust. I don't necessarily mean Bernie or bust, but I'm saying like it needs to be Bernie or someone like him, or else it's not going to pan out. Why would somebody pick a candidate that doesn't represent them? Like, if it's not Bernie Sanders, I have options. If it's not Bernie Sanders, like Tulsi Gabbard, Jeff Merkley, Elizabeth Warren, people like that. But, same old. We'll see what happens in 2020. And if it is not Bernie Sanders, or one of the, progressives like him, like Tulsi Gabbard, Jeff Merkley, Elizabeth Warren, Richard Ojeda, Andrew Yang, then the Democrats have guaranteed another 4 years of Donald Trump. But anyways, now moving on to an even sadder story. Guatemalan boy, 8, dies of an immigration custody after being diagnosed with a cold. The official cause of the child's death is still unknown, and the CBP, Office of Professional Responsibility, will conduct a review. An 8-year-old Guatemalan boy died of unknown causes in the custody of U.S. Customs and Border Protection minutes before midnight on Christmas Eve. Aww. The agency said in a statement Tuesday, well, Merry Christmas. I mean, I stood up for Customs and Border Patrol. I was like, we need to abolish ICE. We need to keep busting Customs and Border Control. We need to get rid of ICE. ICE is the bad one. Well, looks like CBP is just as bad. Well, that's more children die in our custody. That is pretty Nazi-like, keeping children in cages and then killing them. This is abnormal. Countries don't do this. They normally don't. I mean, well, they do if there's a gain, and the gain is less Mexicans coming into the country. But wait, it was Guatemalan. Dang it! But anyways, the next story, a happy one. Bryce to advise Working Families Party plans to recruit candidates for 2020. Although his race for Congress did not go his way, Randy Bryce plans to help future candidates in the 2020 election cycle. Bryce, a Democrat and a Caledonia resident, is going to work for the progressive organization Working Families Party as a senior advisor to help recruit presidential candidates and push policy changes on environmental issues. These are issues that have been important to me, and if they would be getting done now, I wouldn't have had spent time campaigning, Bryce said. I am lucky that the Working Families Party has reached out and make me part of their family. This is good. showing that the, Justice Democrat type hasn't faded away. Even the ones that have lost, they're moving forward. Sure, we have the ones like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley and Chewy Garcia and Deb Haaland and Mike Levin and Joe Neguse and Jared Golden and Jahana Hayes, those guys. It's good to know that we have those guys in the Congress, obviously, but it's also good to know that the guys on the outside that didn't make it, like your Ojettas or your Bryces or like Iron Stash, especially because he's known as Iron Stash, Randy Rice. Iron Stash was kind of what I saw was I want Iron Stash to win, and he was the most disappointed loss to me. But it's good to know that he's still fighting out there and fighting for our rights and fighting the corporate establishment. But anyways, now here's the next story. It's an opinion piece by Jonathan Capehart. Democrats, now that Representative Nancy Pelosi has secured the support of her caucus to become the next speaker in the House, let me give y'all some rules on how to handle the 2020 presidential nomination process. There's really only one. Act like Republicans. Yeah, because that boded so well for them in 2016. The Democrats have this annoying habit of always looking for the one who will sweep them off their feet in a fit of electoral ecstasy. Only their one should make a go of it. All the others are deemed inadequate or somehow all wrong for the party or their times. Then there is this one annoying habit. If their one does not win the nomination, then the person who actually does win is dead to them. Not quite. All we're really asking for is a progressive, preferably Bernie Sanders, due to the fact that he has a long history of fighting for progressive ideals. But, I'll settle for Tulsi Gabbard or Richard Ojeda or Jeff Merkley or Elizabeth Warren, or I'll settle for them. But, what I will not settle for is Hillary Clinton or Cory Booker or Kamala Harris. I won't support them at all. That's really all I'm asking for. I'm in love with I'm loyal to the ideas. I'm not loyal to any particular party. In fact, freaking the Green Party, they don't even have my support all the way. If they pick somebody that I don't like, I won't support them either. I'll support, the Justice Party candidates if they decide to freaking run a candidate. Or maybe the Socialist Party will actually give me an option. Maybe the Libertarian will nominate someone from the Libertarian Socialist Caucus, and I'll be like, okay, I'll support the Libertarian Party this time. I'm loyal to the ideas. I'm not loyal to any particular party at all. It's just stupid to be loyal to a particular party, especially considering that party can fail you at any point in time. Now, the article kind of goes on to say, well, even though Republicans didn't like Donald Trump, they went along with him because, they had to win. Not quite. Evan McMullin, remember him? He was the guy who literally was like, I don't like Donald Trump so much that I'm gonna run my own candidacy. Because, clearly, why would you support a candidate that has the support of your base? Because Donald Trump was campaigning I am not going to be a part of these corporate interests. I'm the one who buys the politicians. They don't buy me. I'll tell you that much, folks. But you don't understand. I don't care about the particular Democratic Party candidate. Unless they're a good one, in which case I will care immensely. If I don't, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing that in the 2020 election. I'm going to be including little pages of I'll support this guy in this party's nomination. I'll support this guy in this party's nomination. I might do that immediately after I end the episode. But I have my options open in case the candidate interests me. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So, speaking of Jared Golden, because I mentioned him, Maine Governor Paul LePage certifies election result but still complains that it was stolen. In signing off Democrat Jared Golden's victory, Maine's outgoing Republican governor took one last dig at the state's ranked choice voting system. Outgoing Maine Governor Paul LePage finally certified the victory of Rep-elect Jared Golden in the state's 2nd Congressional District on Friday, nearly 2 months after the November 6th election, but not without taking one last dig at the state's new ranked choice voting process, which he and other state Republicans have long refused to accept. Basically, when he certified the election results, he literally wrote the term stolen election right next to the certification page. Now, I learned about Jared Golden just by scrolling through Congressional Progressive Caucus stuff, and Jared Golden seems alright, and he's on my endorsement page right now, but the House of Representatives, since they're not running candidates yet, it's pretty much just a page for you to know who's in the current Congress that I like, or when I say current Congress, I mean the upcoming 116th one, because Keith Ellison and Jared Polis, they're out. But Golden seems alright, and I do like the idea that they literally did a ranked choice voting system, and it literally worked in the favor of the Democrats. So again, they have really no choice to not be in favor of ranked choice voting. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's a good voting system, and it's gonna help the people. And now let's get into what could possibly be the final political party that I do in a Fireside Chats. Why? Because as I kind of started going through the political parties, I kind of started realizing, maybe this isn't particularly a good idea, because some of these could actually be shorthand videos that I can do in in the quickness while I prepare for a big one, with my Jack Feller video or with my Citizens Party video, which was 5 minutes long. But if it ends up, I did a poll, and especially considering in the 2020 election, I'm going to be going over smaller candidates in lieu of this. So, I'll be giving a little small candidate a shout out and including a page of their website or Facebook or whatever. So, you'll have your options open in case you want to peruse out and find a different candidate. But I decided that I would end this one, if this is the end, I will end it with a bang, with a big, violent, action-y party, and we have the United States Pacifist Party. The United States Pacifist Party is a pacifist party, obviously. It supports the anti-war movement. It supports nonviolent resistance of Mohandas Gandhi? That's his name? I thought it was Mahatma Gandhi. Oh, it is Mohandas Gandhi. Yeah, apparently Mahatma is a given name or something. And Martin Luther King Jr. It was founded in 1983, or 35 years ago. Its ideology is non-interventionism, pacifism, and anti-war. It's politically placed on the left, surprisingly. The party was founded by Bradford Little. Little ran in the 1984 campaign. It got enough support to continue the party running again as a write-in candidate in the 1996 election. The 2000 presidential election was also a write-in candidacy. 1998, Gary Swing ran in the 1988 Colorado Senate election. Gary Swing being a very notable guy who's even currently running as a Green Party candidate in the 2020 election. He received 1,903 votes. 2008, Little actually gained ballot access in Colorado. He received 110 votes. He came in last of 23 candidates who were on the ballot in at least one state. Following the September 11th attacks, interest in the party grew, and Little appeared on a special for CNN and the O'Reilly Factor, explaining the party's response to the attacks in a pacifist sense and getting threats for it. He got threats for it. It's well known. It got 0% of the vote in 2008 and 2016. But number-wise, it's 110 in 2008 and 382, my mistake, in 2016. It is a left-wing, political party. It opposed the war in Afghanistan, opposed Iraq war, against nuclear weapons, biological warfare, and chemical weapons, solar power system. It wants a Canadian model healthcare system. It supports funding alternatives to abortion, not in lieu of keeping abortion legal. It supports unrestricted immigration, arguing that money need for healthcare and education will be paid for by shutting down the majority of military war acts. It supports employment through private employment and a minimum wage for everyone and a negative income tax. It opposes all forms of discrimination and limiting contributions to campaigns. That's about it for the Pacifist Party. So, if that's the last one, if that's the last party that you guys get to listen to, it sucks for you. But yeah, like I said, in 2020, for the 2020 election, I'm going to be going over like minor candidates. So it is kind of a half lie, half truth. But, it's just something I had to do. Party-wise, I think I'll just save those for videos, if the poll ends up being true. If the poll doesn't end up being true, I'll still not do parties for 2020, but, I'll do smaller candidates, because I think it'd be beneficial. Also, I hope to do more interviews soon. Haven't been getting many of those out, I almost had an interview because John Wolfe Jr. offered to be interviewed after George H.W. Bush's death, but, I was like, I'm actually kind of busy at the moment. And he's like, it'll only take 40 minutes. And I'm like, I have a lot of time in my hand. It's 40 minutes I don't have, my friend. I'm sorry. He was like, I'll go somewhere else. I'm like, fine, go. But he's still rather nice. Not to be cruel to him, he seems really nice, but, just that came off as a bit like a bit of a dick move. But, otherwise, Anyways, now we'll get on to the main thing of the day, which is not a story or really a topic. Well, kind of a topic. It's actually a movie review. I'm finally the nostalgia critic. Hello, I'm the nostalgia critic. I remember it, so you don't have to. This one in particular is I felt that this would be interesting enough to close out the year. I was gonna play the iCivics game, but then I decided that. But then, I managed to actually find Farenheit 11.9. I actually wanted to watch it, because I was interested in it. It had a lot of good things in it. I was just interested in the topic, especially considering, he compares Donald Trump being elected president to 9/11, so I was like, that seems a bit of a stretch when you say, but I was like, I'll give the film a chance. But what does it do? And, well, first, I'm going to have to explain the film's director a little bit. Michael Moore. Michael Moore is very controversial. I'll be doing a thoughts on about Michael Moore in the future, but I thought it would be best to at least know that Michael Moore, he does have some things that may make you either want to watch the movie or turn away. For example, much like Dinesh D'Souza, he's, biased. He's a left-winger, a fiery left-wing populist, as quoted by many people. Supported the campaigns of Ralph Nader, John Kerry, and Bernie Sanders. He supported Wesley Clark before he supported John Kerry. He's also been very satirical in mocking right-wingers. He was mocked relentlessly by South Park. And, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. He was mocked by those guys a lot too. Because they created South Park and they created Team America, da 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 da. He's also just well known for his biggest controversy came from, I think, Bowling with Columbine, where he not only took points away from he interviewed Matt Stone and then made it seem like he was tricking people to thinking that Matt Stone made like a South Park thing for his movie and apparently stole talking points from Marilyn Manson about gun violence. But, there's some things that are just out of your control. I think that makes it a bit dickish, but, that's just how things are in this world. You're a bit dickish sometimes. But anyways, let's go over some basic ideas of the movie. Like, reading over the Wikipedia page and, synopsis. Farenheit 11/9 is a 2018 American political documentary by filmmaker Michael Moore about the 2016 presidential election and the subsequent presidency of Donald Trump. The film was released to its world premiere on September 6, 2018, and was released to the United States on September 21st, 2018. It had a budget of $4 million to $5 million, has a running time of 120 minutes, i.e. 2 hours, and had a box office gross of $6.7 million, so it made its money back. It's apparently the lowest totals of Michael Moore's career, and it received mostly positive reviews. It was kind of many people, with most of Michael Moore's career, say, it's rather preachy. Pretty much, the idea is, pretty much, the whole film can be summed up with Michael Moore's pretty much opening statement. How the fuck did we get here, and how did we get out? That was pretty much the entirety of Michael Moore's idea of the movie. The film has currently an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is mostly rated high. People like it. Many people like it. Now, of course, I'm giving you, what do all the other people think about it. Now, what do I think about it? I think it's good. I really think it's good. It's a good movie. It's edited together well, and, the pacing is fine. I guess the real problem many people would have would be the substance of it, of course. If a movie's edited well and shot well, what does it matter if the story sucks? Of course, this isn't really a story-driven movie. It's, a political documentary. And that would lead many people to have, certain political opinions on what is said. And, well, one thing I will have to say, I will give, some kind of, spoiler warning, quote-unquote, because you can't really spoil a documentary. But, what I will say about the documentary is that it leads in with just being, your typical Trump bashing stuff. But then as it goes on, it kind of actually, it talks about, the problems that America was faced with before Donald Trump. Example, the film starts off with him being Donald Trump is racist, misogynistic, evil pig. But then, around, the halfway point, not even the halfway point, a fourth of the way through, he starts talking about, how Bill Clinton paved the way to Donald Trump and how Obama had made, a lot of problems that led to Donald Trump. And I was oh, I was actually not expecting this. Especially considering Michael Moore has, a very just hardline stance against Donald Trump. It's even, going so far as to saying, fuck WikiLeaks, because WikiLeaks revealed truths about Hillary Clinton, da-da-da-da. WikiLeaks doesn't get mentioned at all in this movie, surprisingly. They mention the email leak, but they don't mention the WikiLeaks by name. I would assume probably due to Michael Moore's bias against them now. And to get into specifics, I will say this before I continue. If you're interested in Michael Moore or, documentaries and you actually are interested in seeing this, you probably shouldn't watch any further because it is a good documentary. I like it. I really do like it. when Google said, "Hey, do you like this movie?" I was like, "Yep, I like it. It is really good." And if they had a home release, I probably would buy it. I especially want to show my parents because, they don't understand politics as much, and I feel that this could actually give them a better understanding on why Donald Trump is even in office right now. It takes it begins with, it lures you in with the whole, the people who just hate Trump blindly, who just, they just hate Trump no matter what he says, and they'll be like, yeah, I hate Donald Trump. But then as it goes on, they'll go like, oh, this is how it actually got there? Oh, okay, okay, this is really good. I like this. And, well, to get into specifics, I actually took some notes during the movie. These are just notes that I felt would go over, some specific points that went on during the movie. For example, first it leads in with the whole Trump bashing. Again, I went over that because, you have to lure in the Democrat that hates Trump blindly in somehow. Then, and with specifics on that part, it's it claims Trump's a pedophile. It does that thing where it's children sitting on his lap, and he's like, but again, you would normally see this kind of acting Trump is a racist, sexist pedophile. Boy, I'm glad I don't monetize my videos, because this would get me demonetized instantly. I mean, talking about politics would get me demonetized instantly too, but, and here's one problem I had, is, it got mad with Donald Trump wanting to be peaceful with, the North Korea. Which I'm well, he shook hands with Kim Jong-un. What do you want? Do you want him to punch Kim Jong-un in the face and gouge his eyes out? What do you want him to do? What the fuck do you want him to do, Michael? Would you do that if you saw Kim Jong-un walk up to you and shake his hand? No, I'd shake his hand back. I would be like, yeah, dude, we're friends. And of course, it also perpetuates Russiagate, which I'm not particularly a fan of. If you said, again, and Michael Moore doesn't even perpetuate, a Russiagate where it's Russia gave him some money. No, it perpetuates, Donald Trump and Putin are having secret gay sex behind the scenes, and, da-da-da-da. He perpetuates, that kind of Russiagate, the one that's, super outlandish and super crazy that nobody should believe it, but for some reason people actually believe it. And one thing that I felt kind of was kind of jarring is that it actually diverges away from Donald Trump for a second to talk about the problems in Flint, Michigan. At first I was kind of hold on, why would you talk about that? You can hear my voice cracking because I've been talking for a long time and I'm really sick. It's why would you talk about Rick Snyder and the Flint water crisis? And man, he was actually yeah, I mean, I found out that he was born and raised in Michigan area, and it explains how Rick Snyder has a similar history to Donald Trump. He was a billionaire who wanted to run for not president, but he wanted to run for political office, and then he kind of got his wish, and he made a lot of problems. And well, that was actually really interesting. And I was especially considering he explained stuff about the Flint water crisis that I didn't know. I thought it was just because the water pipes were going down, but no, it was actually his fault. He built a new pipe just so he could transfer water from one place to another, and it was very shittily made pipes. Speaking of shit, he criticized Clinton's shitty campaigning, especially because he criticized the fact that Clinton did bad campaigning. So at least we know he's not fully on the boat of oh, Clinton did nothing wrong and Russia's the only reason she lost. He actually acknowledges the fact that Clinton could have done better campaigning in certain areas. She should have if she was going to win. He actually also uses a lot of poll numbers to show that populist left nature of America. Talks about he's America's a leftist country, and even I was kind of I found that a little hard to believe, but then he was like, but then he reminded me of all the poll numbers, and I was like, oh yeah, never mind. I forgot about the whole 70% of people want Medicare for all. You know, that is a big thing. I mean, come on. If 70% of the people want Medicare for all, America's clearly leftist, if that's the case. It also just that Trump is a symptom of the problem. He talks a lot about the media and Democratic Party bias against Bernie Sanders, again, refusing to mention WikiLeaks by name, which is a small asterisk that I was like, maybe you should have mentioned it, but, you know, again, maybe he wouldn't. And also, he's, like, Michael Moore is also known for his, like, big gung-ho nature, so he, like, it showed, like, clips of him going to Governor Rick Snyder's house and dousing it with Flint water, and, he, went to Rick Snyder's, like, office to be like, I will arrest you, sir. And then he, he also interviewed a lot of progressive candidates across the United States, like Richard Ojeda, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and there was another guy who was, he ran for a Florida House seat. He calls out moderate Democrats and party leader heads like Pelosi for not embracing populist left culture and actually fighting for these issues that a lot of people like. He calls them out just by calling them out. He brings up the Levi Tillman controversy. I didn't think he would actually mention the Levi Tillman controversy. I was like, oh, you mentioned Levi Tillman. That's actually really cool, dude. And another thing, it was actually like Richard Ojeda in his interview that helped me learn this, and Michael Moore, I think. Yeah, it was kind of both of them. They told me what the term redneck actually meant. I didn't know what the term redneck meant. I assumed it was probably something like, you know how, like, when you're, like, crackers, like the whip cracking. I thought it was, like, maybe they were working out in the sun so much that their neck turned red. But no, I found out that the term redneck, at least in some contexts, means, like, white working class people who would tie a red bandana around their neck to signify that they were part of a union. I'm like, I actually got a lot of respect for the term redneck now. It's actually pretty cool. That's really cool, actually. I really do. I really do think it's kind of cool. And then at one point, he kind of shifts to March for Our Lives and school shootings. In fact, a really, again, with his way, it was his interesting, gung-ho way, he, first it just starts off with, hi, we're going to Stoneman Douglas High School. Then it cuts to, the school shooter's video of him saying, I'm gonna go shoot up the school. And then it abruptly cuts to him, the shooting itself. It abruptly cuts to the shooting itself, and, blood, gore, and guts everywhere, and, I was actually kind of shocked that it would just cut randomly to, and the gunshots were, loud in the movie. They weren't, pew, pew. They were, pew, pew. They were loud. And there was, blood everywhere. There was, one where they literally had, a teacher or a student on the ground with blood on the ground. I was like, oh, whoa, dude, you're actually going to show that? And apparently he taught me about, how apparently Emma Gonzalez was called a skinhead lesbian by some stupid fucking idiot. And in the span of a day, he was running out of post for a state house seat. In the span of a day, they not only got him to get a challenger, but they also got him to drop out. That's really cool in the March for Our Lives way. It showed that apparently, this is something I didn't even know, Obama apparently fucked over with the Flint people. He was literally hey, I'm Barack Obama. I did the thing where it's when you do an impression, you go, hi, I'm blank. But he was hey, I'm with you, Flint, Michigan. Could I get a glass of water? and they give him a glass of Flint, Michigan water, and then he puts his lips on it, and then puts the glass down. They're like, but you didn't drink it. And then he does it twice. And then they even got Joe Podesta to say, like, yeah, Obama, you shouldn't have done that. That's fucking stupid and fat and stupid, and I hate you, Obama. But, like, it's really impressive that they did that. And, like, it showed, like, Obama didn't have your back, people. And apparently they even used Flint, Michigan for, like, military testing. I was like, what? They also abruptly criticized Barack Obama for paving Donald Trump's, like, nature via the Chelsea Manning thing. What happened with Chelsea Manning? They even show footage of Chelsea, then Bradley Manning, in, like, military garb going to be arrested. And this actually kind of surprised me. It took 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 6 seconds before there was even a Nazi reference. I thought that would be like one of the first things, but no, it took him like that long to make a Nazi reference. And I actually applaud him. I think, like, okay, that was really cool. He also insinuated that him campaigning for 2020 a day after inauguration is bad. Not really. It's actually really impressive. I mean, it's not even impressive. It's just the truth. Presidents campaign literally like the day after they're inaugurated. Everybody who runs for elected office starts running for the next election a day after they're inaugurated. Because they gotta raise money and they gotta get their people together and da-da-da-da. Donald Trump was just more open about it. He openly called them campaign rallies. I mean, especially considering Donald Trump clearly liked the campaigning part more than the actually running the country part. He does rallies a lot. He also gives good criticisms of Trump for a couple of minutes. Like, I actually forget what he said. I think it was him. I honestly forgot because the film kind of like distracted me from actually like those valid criticisms. I think it had something to do with the deportation of children, which is something he also criticized Obama for, because he was like, hey, Obama, since you could deport kids, Trump thought he could deport kids. Yeah. I think it was because of the child separation policy that he criticized Donald Trump heavily for. And he showed a lot of good videos of quote-unquote Trump's America. Racist white trash being like, I don't want to be with you, you spink. Poor people being like, I make $7 an hour, and this is where I live. And then Trump throwing reporters out of the thing, like board meetings and stuff. And it shows crazy Trump supporters like Alex Jones and Steve Bannon. And it apparently shows like it insinuates that Donald Trump saying that the media is bad is a bad thing. Like, Trump criticizing the media is a bad thing. What are you talking about? This is a good thing. Why would you... Everybody criticizes the media because the media is biased as hell. It's biased. There's no denying it. The media tells you what you want to hear. Either it's like, the country's so bad, we need to fix it with blank. Or the country's great, don't change a thing, socialism. That's what... I mean, I get the idea that Trump shouldn't be able to throw out the media for asking a simple question, and I don't think he should. What I'm saying is, the reason he calls CNN fake news, and there's a reason why it sticks, it's because it's true. It is. They literally spent hours showing a Donald Trump empty podium before they would even show a clip of Bernie Sanders. It shows, especially considering you mentioned this in the movie. You brought up the fact that it's just the truth that the media has a bias and they want you to fall in line with the bias. There was more Nazi comparisons and 9/11 comparisons. These ones a bit more valid though. Like, like he mentions like how a big event like a terrorist attack is what governments use to, you know, rail you in. Like how Hitler used the burning of the German parliament to enact pretty much martial law and kick out all the communists in his, you know, in the thing. And how Bush used 9/11 to ramp up the security state. And how there's potential that Donald Trump could do the same thing. Some historian said, like, I don't think that's the case. I think he's doing it now. And I'm like, not quite. I mean, you're going to have to wait until a big terrorist attack happens. And, you know, probably won't. But, I mean, it might. I don't know. It showed clips of, like, Black Lives Matter, Dakota Access Pipeline, Charlottesville, and Take a Knee protesting. And I felt that that was cool, especially considering Michael Moore was giving, like, a big speech about it. Like he was like, America needs to be fixed. America, it needs help. We need to fix this country, make it better again, make it better than it ever was. And then it just cuts. And then all of a sudden it like cuts to a ballistic missile threat. It's just kind of funny. I was like, wait, what? Is the documentary over? But then it like cuts to ballistic missile threat, and it shows like video footage of people freaking out over the ballistic missile threat. And I was like, this is actually what was going on? I mean, I've heard like the idea of like a parent who has to go to like 3 different places if they want to say goodbye to their family, but this is like real people who were legitimately freaked out about the potential that they were gonna freaking die. This is like amazing. Like, what? And especially considering it was such a big oversight. But the biggest thing that kind of impacted the movie and kind of like how it hit me was the ending. It ended with Emma Gonzalez, like with all this footage of like, you know, protests and like ballistic missile threats alongside like ominous music, and Emma Gonzalez was saying like, you know, student name here, that's why they will never be able to do it again. Insert student name here, insert student name here, insert student name here, insert student name here. She says a bunch of students' names who died during the Stoneman Douglas, like, you know, those, like she says a bunch of names of people who died in that attack, and then all of a sudden she stops. Just stops. She's looking at the camera, and she just stands there blankly, like, with like tears in her eyes. It kind of hits me because it's like, I'm pretty sure that's the first time she legitimately read all of those names, that it actually hit her that this many people were killed in the attack. Like, and it hits well because I was like, me and her are like around the same age, and I could not deal with a school shooting. And the one thing I think would be different between me and Emma Gonzalez of school shootings and stuff, the only difference between me and her would probably be like she says we call BS. I would probably just be upfront and say we call bullshit, but that's just me, really. So those are all the notes I really have about Michael Moore's movie. The first Michael Moore movie I saw, but I mean, for the first Michael Moore movie I saw, it was good. I'd recommend watching it if you want. Like, if you want to at least get a somewhat of a better understanding about what's going on in the country, you should probably watch Farenheit 11/9. I wouldn't give it an 11 out of 9. I'd give it like an 8 out of 9. Or a 9 out of 11. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, and thank you for watching me throughout the entire year. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or you can read my articles on the Independent Political Report. What are your thoughts on this Michael Moore movie? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you hate Michael Moore and will never watch a movie of his because he's such a liberal cuck? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.